Welcome to a quick and efficient guide to the one-arm pull-up. As I've mentioned before, the one-arm pull-up is a deceivingly technical movement, and in this video I'll cover the most important technical cues. As for the strength requirements, I've made another video about that, which I'll link in the description. Now let's get started. The first thing you need to know is how to hang in one arm. Here it's crucial that you start by grabbing the bar with a semi-false grip and squeeze the bar really tight. As I'm always preaching, this makes the movement easier by shortening the range of motion, and it activates supporting muscles in the forearm. Next, you want to actively tighten your core. With a loose core, you'll start to rotate around your hand, which makes the movement a lot harder to stabilize. The next step, and this is really important, is to do a one-arm scapular raise. While still hanging in straight arm, lift your shoulder blade and activate your back. If you have trouble doing it, this is where you start practicing. On to the next step, and now it's getting a little technical, because at the same time that you perform the scapular raise, you need to roll the shoulder of the opposite arm in front of your body. This movement collects your center of mass closer to the pulling arm, which makes it easier. If you start pulling without doing this, your chest will open, creating a center of mass further away from your arm, which will make your body rotate backwards and thereby making it harder. You can think of this step as naturally holding something close to your body when it's heavy, because the lever principle will multifold the weight if it's further away from you. So in this instance, try to imitate the body alignment of the photo to the right. Next is what most of you probably thought was the first step, the actual pulling. As an extension of the scapular raise and shoulder roll, you start the pull. In other words, you utilize the momentum directly into the pull-up. Overdoing the shoulder roll can have the same function as the kip in a muscle-up. It generates momentum. When pulling with one arm, it's important to keep your arm in front of your body. This is a big difference from a regular pull-up with the arms going more to the side. As a technical cue, you can try to keep your elbow pointing forward. Since this sort of pulling may be a little different from what most of you are used to, I recommend training this by doing these adjusted pull-ups. Start by pointing your elbow forward and shift the center of mass by leaning to that side. Now pull as much as possible with that arm and compensate for the lack of strength with the other arm without breaking the body alignment. Go for a few reps on each arm. The next and final step is the top position. There are two main ways to do this, and people have different opinions on what the proper way to do it is. The first option is to extend your neck going chin over the bar. The second option is to extend your shoulder with the shoulder tap marking the end of the rep. I personally use the second option, which allows me to use a pretty neat technical cue. I imagine that the movement is actually revolving around my shoulder hitting the bar next to my hand. Just watch how the entire movement is controlled by the shoulder. You might also notice that the shoulder is hitting the bar very close to my hand. Both top positions have in common that they end near the hand. This is based on the same principle as with the shoulder roll. Throughout the movement, you want to move as close to the pulling hand as possible, and this culminates in the top. I think it's important to mention that the one-arm pull-up has a high load, and when you combine that with the semi-false grip, it puts a lot of stress on your elbows. So please be careful. I personally use the semi-false grip in my actual attempts, and for the volume work, such as the adjusted pull-ups I showed earlier, you can use a regular grip. It also helps to keep the blood flowing, for example with the elbow sleeves from Gornation. So, as a performance routine, you want to have these 4 technical cues in mind. First, start by grabbing the bar with a semi-false grip and tighten your core. Second, do a scapular raise and a shoulder roll towards your pulling hand. Third, you do the pull, making sure that your elbow is pointing forward. And fourth and finally, you extend either your shoulder or your neck, making sure to gradually move closer to the pulling hand throughout the movement. In my opinion, this is all you need to know about the technique of the one-arm pull-up. Hope you enjoyed, subscribe and like for more content.